Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all enjoying them so far. Just a call that if anyone wants to like my page, that would be phenomenal and I would be very grateful. Thank you very much. This week's video I'm going to be talking about basically things that women do to kind of diminish themselves. Obviously, women are, discriminated against a lot of the times by men, and I guess these are kind of stemming from my own personal experiences where I sometimes feel so used to feeling a certain way or being treated a certain way that even if I'm in a room with a lot of amazing people who are respecting me and being amazing, that I still will kind of almost diminish myself and I will kind of not be respectful towards myself even. And I think it's because we're so used to feeling a certain way. I kind of liken it to if you've a giant spot in your face or something, it's kind of pointing out the spot before anybody else can. Or if you were say new at a job, it's pointing out that you're new in the job before anybody can get mad at you for doing something wrong. It's kind of we're almost reinforcing the patriarchy, and this is not, obviously I'll do so many videos on how women are discriminated against, and this is not a blame game. We're absolutely not responsible for any discrimination against us. But I think it's good to be conscious of the things we do, because, it's kind of if you don't have confidence in yourself or the things that you're doing, it's kind of how is anybody else meant to? And I think it's just good to be conscious, we're just so used to acting a certain way. And once you notice that you're doing certain behaviours, you're oh my god, why am I doing that? You're not to blame for how, other people treat you. But it's even just for yourself, to be more confident and to be the best version of yourself that you can be. These are all kind of things that I've caught myself doing. So I'm just gonna maybe talk through a few of them, and maybe if you catch yourself doing them, you might be oh god, okay, I'll not do that anymore. So the first one that I actually realised this a few months ago, I'm actually quite conscious of it now, is how I speak so fast. People hate me all the time because I speak so fast, and I had kind of a bit of an epiphany there a few months ago that I think I speak so fast so that no one will have time to interrupt me. If I get what I have to say out as quickly as possible, then there's no time for anyone to come in the middle of that and cut me off or anything. And sometimes I find that when I'm speaking slowly, that someone, possibly a man, will come in and will just take over. And I realised a few months ago that that's probably why I speak so fast, so that no one will have a chance to cut in. It's just so sad. And now I'm super conscious of it whenever I'm in groups, and say if there's women and men and everyone's talking. And because now that I'm a bit more grown up and just the kind of circles that I run in, I'm just with a lot of guys that are super aware of sexism and are just really, really good guys, and so I don't really experience that much anymore. I'm always shocked when I'm saying something and I'm not interrupted, which is so bad. Or when I see a girlfriend speaking and she's not interrupted, and I'm sitting there on edge waiting for someone to interrupt her, and it's not happening, and I'm oh god, this is amazing. But because for years and years I've been so used to that, I think that's why I speak really quickly. So yeah, I'm just gonna not do that anymore. I'm gonna be super conscious of it. And it's called man-interruption, when a guy interrupts you. And they say that if it's happening, if you're an office boardroom or whatever, and someone starts interrupting you, just keep talking, even if they're right over there, that just keep talking and they will get the hint. Maybe that's something you find yourself doing, and I'm just we should just be able to speak slowly and calmly and everything. And as well, if you're watching people give speeches and they're kind of they just look a bit frantic, and they look maybe they're a bit nervous. And if you see people who are talking really slowly and really calmly, they just look more confident. So yeah, that's just one thing I know that I do. So maybe there are others like me. Yeah, another thing that women tend to do is, if you're say giving a speech, you might start off by saying, oh, I'll be brief, or I won't go on too long now. And I actually, now that I've become so conscious of it, I notice it every time I see a woman give a speech. And it's kind of another way of diminishing ourselves. Why can't we speak for ages? I never ever hear men say it, oh, I'll be brief. They take all the time in the world, and they're dead right, to be honest. You know what I mean? We should also be taking all the time in the world. Obviously don't speak for an hour if you're given 10 minutes, but it's if you're making good points and everyone's really interested in listening, then talk as long as you want. I think as well, pointing out, oh, I'll be brief, I won't be too long, it then kind of makes other people conscious of how long you're speaking, and then they're also kind of okay, we'll shut up now. But if it hadn't been pointed out in the first place, they probably would just be yeah, amazing, keep going. So that's another thing that I noticed that we do. Then, then this is just an atrocious one, obviously, saying sorry 24/7, non-stop. I'm a joke for this. I just am saying sorry all day long. If someone bumps into you on the street, if they bumped into you, I still say sorry. It's a joke. And it's I've been so conscious of this for so long. and I still do it. Like literally, like someone would bump into me and I'd be like, I'm so sorry. I think maybe that's a woman thing, but I think it's also kind of an Irish thing that we're all just like, oh sorry. I think it actually made me super conscious of it when I was living in the Netherlands, and Dutch people obviously just a bit, you know, a bit more straightforward, and they're not as kind of like over the top as Irish people. You know, if you bump into an Irish person on the street, they're like actually on their knees apologising, you know, whereas obviously the Dutch are a bit more pragmatic, to generalise. So I would be on the street and I'd be like, I'm so sorry, and this other person would not care at all, and I'd be like, what if they don't care? Why am I, what's going on here? Why am I apologizing? What's going on? It's so sad because I'm so conscious of it, and like still it has not improved like at all. That just goes to show like how like ingrained these things are. Women feel like we think everything is our fault, or we feel like we have to take responsibility for things. It's like half the time like I find myself doing it and it's like it literally was not my fault at all, and there I'm saying sorry, and it's just like, what? Why are you saying sorry? A good tip, I think, I can't think of a good example right now, but if it's a time where you think you should say sorry, maybe just say thank you instead. Like, I remember I used to work in a shop, and if there was a big queue, instead of saying, oh sorry for the wait, we'd say thank you for waiting, and it's just kind of a nicer way of framing it. So maybe if you haven't responded to an email, or you know, like whatever, instead of saying, oh, you know, sorry for this, you know, say thank you for your patience, or you know, something like that. So yeah, that's, you know, that could be a tip for everyone like out there like me who has an issue with saying sorry when it's not my fault at all. Then this is another funny one that I noticed, and I said this to a friend a few weeks ago, and she was just like, Lauren, you're psychotic, that is not a thing. So obviously women, you know, were taught that we're meant to be, you know, like smaller and skinnier and basically just take up less space, close our legs and just be all prim and proper, and men are, you know, taught that they are meant to be big and muscly and man spread all over the gaff, and they just take up loads of room. And so one thing I noticed, that say if I'm on Instagram and I'm looking at like couples photos, say if it's a man and a woman couple, the man is like standing straight at the camera, legs out, like his whole, you can see his whole body, and then I always see the woman like turning into him. And again, this is what my friend thought I was insane, because she was just like, that is reading into things way too much. But I can't help but think like you're turning into the person, like you're making yourself smaller, like, because sometimes like the woman turns so much that it's like you can only see actually half her body. I just kind of hate when I see, because I see the guy standing there like body, you know, fully at the camera, and then you know you just see her kind of turning into it. I just kind of hate it, because I'm like, you're physically diminishing yourself, you know, not just metaphorically or whatever, but you're literally diminishing your size and making yourself smaller in comparison to the male man next to you. And that's something I'm conscious of. Like if I'm posing with, you know, a guy or whatever, like I'm like, no, Lauren, you know, face the camera. This is all about you. You deserve to just be right there. So yeah, maybe I am insane with that one, but I can't help but get kind of like a ooh feeling when I see pictures like that. I'm just, you know, women, own the camera, own it. Then another one, this is funny. So I noticed this basically in my job right now. I work for a man, and sometimes I'll be emailing as him. Say someone will email in and I'll email back, but it'll, you know, I'll be signing off with his name. And obviously then other times I'm emailing as myself. And I noticed, and again this might be just me or this might be other people, I noticed that when I was emailing as him, I was a lot more stern and I was a lot more to the point and straightforward. And then when I was emailing as myself, I'd be like, oh, sorry for that, okay, oh, apologies, thanks so much for your help, like really appreciate it, like oh my god, thank you so much. Or say if I was asking for something, if I was emailing as him, I'd be like, okay, can you do that as soon as possible? Obviously being, you know, as correctly as one should be, but I would just be like, you know, kind regards, thanks so much, can you do that? ASAP Rocky. And then when I'd be emailing as myself, I would be like, hi, oh, sorry to bother you, just if you have a second, please, you know, no worries if not, like, it's fine, it's not a big deal, you know, like, you only fucking need it yesterday, but, you know, it's not a big deal, if you have a chance, like, sorry to be bothering you, thanks so much, like, best wishes, Lauren. And it was so funny, it's like I actually, when I know I'm emailing as him, I actually get him like a mental change, you know, and you know about that saying, which I love, and it's like, walk around with confidence of a white man, and it really works, honestly. And I noticed it with this, that I would just have this kind of change of persona almost when I would be emailing as him, and it's amazing. I was just like, when I'm emailing as myself, I need to be more like the person that I act like I am when I'm emailing as my boss. Obviously, never be rude, never be, you know, ungrateful, but like, I don't need to be saying, oh, like, so sorry to bother you. Like, if it's your job, then I'm not bothering you. Like, this is your job to do that thing, so I'm just asking you to do your job. It's kind of like, if you're there saying, oh, so sorry, this person, even if it's their job to do the thing you're asking for them, they might think, well, yeah, you are bothering me, actually, you know, and yeah, actually, you should be sorry. And then it's like, wait, what? No, I'm not actually sorry, I'm just saying this. But it's like, no, you know, say exactly what you mean. And if you're not sorry for bothering someone, then don't say it. People respect people who are straight to the point and just direct. And again, I'm not saying anything about any of you guys, like, this is just literally what I do. I need to be more just direct and be like, yeah, can you do this for me? That's amazing, thank you. So then another one that we do, and I'm a terror for this, it's horrendous. Say if a woman is speaking, we'll say, you know, a word, or, you know, a sentence, and then we'll finish it up with, oh, do you know what I mean? Or, you know? Or like, yeah, you feel me? It's like we need that confirmation straight away that what we said was correct. And again, this is a super, super subconscious thing. But once it was, again, pointed out to me, I was like, oh my god, I do that all the time. Like, sometimes I might do it straight away. I might not even finish the sentence and then I'll say it straight away. But other times, if I even have like a second of a lull between what I've said, I'm like, do you know what I mean? Yeah? You're making that person be like, yeah. And then you can like breathe. And it's something I notice that I just like don't really see men doing at all. I feel like they're just like confident in what they're saying. And it's like, I should be more confident in what I'm saying. I shouldn't look for that validation. Even when I do these videos, I'm staring into a camera and I'm like, you know? Like as if you're gonna reply. It's just something that I notice myself doing, and it's like, no, I should just say what I'm saying and be like, yeah, that's cool. Another thing, again, that I notice that I do is when I'm saying something that I know is fact, instead of saying I know, I'll say I think. If I'm talking about, you know, the sky being blue, I'm like, I think the sky is blue. It's like, I know the sky is blue. Like, why am I saying I think? It's because I don't want to be too forceful against the other person. And again, it's usually when I'm talking to men and not women, which is so annoying. I will say, I think this. And then, like, first of all, that gives the other person room to be like, no, actually, that you're wrong. And then you have to come in with, well, actually, no, I do know it's fact. And it's like, well, why did you just say you think when you know? Again, with the you know. So you don't want to seem like you're like, you know, pushing your agenda or your facts on anyone. But it's like, what's wrong with that? Like, if you know something is true, you know, why not say it? And what's happened oftentimes is I've said something like, oh, I think. And then there's been a guy who's like, oh, actually, yeah, you're right, that actually is true. And then it's almost like he's gotten the validation. It's like everyone in the room now thinks he's the smart one because he knew it was fact. But it's like, so did I just didn't say it, you know, and it's just like, it's just silly. Again, it's something I'm working on, and I need to be more conscious of myself and not being afraid. Like, and again, it's like, people respect you. If you're like, yeah, actually, that's true, that's fact, I know this, as opposed to being like, well, you know, I think it's this, when you know, just own it, honestly. Like, the kind of theme of this video is just own everything you do, because why not? And then this is another one. I don't think I personally caught myself doing this, but I know that a friend was telling me she did this, and when she just started her job, they were like going into a conference room, and there's kind of like, you know, a table with all the chairs, and then there was kind of like all the chairs against the wall, and she like automatically went to one of the chairs against the wall as opposed to the chair at the table where everyone was sitting, and her male colleague had to be like, come to the table, why are you sitting against the wall? Like, she was embarrassed because it was just like, oh god, why am I acting like I'm a child? It's kind of a perfect example of, in that instance, like, nobody told her to sit against the wall. She went there herself. And it's like, in that moment, she reinforced what everyone else may have been thinking, but they may not have been thinking. They may have thought that she was, you know, completely capable at her job, despite being a woman. And in that moment, she diminished herself and her authority by going against the wall, you know? And I just think that's kind of the perfect example of things that we do, that we can't control how other people treat us, but we can control how we treat ourselves, and, you know, how we respect ourselves, and just have confidence. And again, I don't want this video to come off in any way as blaming women or anything at all. I think it's great. I know that, like, once I became conscious of a lot of the things I did, I've now tried to stop doing them, and it makes me happy, it makes me feel better, it makes me feel like I'm more confident and more in control, and that, you know, I'm just taking ownership of my life basically, and I'm not allowing other people to dictate how I act and how I do things. And that's kind of pretty much what I want, you know, all women to do, is just, you know, own everything you do and just be confident and be amazing, because you all are. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that there for today. I hope that, again, you learned something. These are just a few of the things that I catch myself doing that I know of, but maybe if, you know, people want to comment down below, you know, things that they do to kind of, you know, make themselves smaller or make themselves less impressive than they are, that can kind of alert other people then to things that maybe they might do. So yeah, comment down below, and together we can all just, if, you know, if we're doing these actions, we can just be like, nah, none of that now, we're going to be amazing and it's going to be wonderful. So thank you so much again for watching and loving the support. Again, I would love if you liked my page and share the video if you like it, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!